4Runner or a rugged Tacoma, both available with 1,000 cash back. Or go in an adventurous RAV4, the best-selling SUV in America, and get $1,500 cash back. Take $1,500 back on a stylish Corolla or $2,000 back on a sporty new Camry. Or get $2,500 cash back on the rugged half-ton Tundra. You can even drive away in a spacious Highlander with enough room for the whole family right now with 1,000 cash back. Plus 500 bonus cash from Toyota. Shop for more great savings at Toyota's official website for deals. Buyatoyota.com. You can take cash back or apply toward down payment. Bonus cash must be applied toward down payment. Some offers may exclude TRD Pro models. See your dealer for details. The end of summer event is on at Toyota. So go see your dealer today. Offers end August 31st. Toyota.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Storm Tracker Darnell Foster. Weather, look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. Partly sunny skies, a daytime high near 81. Partly cloudy overnight, temperatures near 56 for the low. A mix of sun and clouds for your Wednesday, with highs in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. The afternoon drive continues with more news, sports, and talk on the Watchdog.
God made you, girl, he don't make mistakes. What you call your imperfections, I call beautiful, babe. Tell him, Blonde.
The way your hair's in a mess in the morning when you open your eyes. The way an hour goes by when you say that you'll be ready in 5. The little dimple on the side of your smile when you're laughing at a movie that you've seen about 1,000 times. You know, girl, that I can't lie. I love you just the way God made you, girl, he don't make mistakes. What you call your imperfections, I call beautiful, babe.
All right, once again, you are listening to The Watchdog. My name is DJ Danner, taking you through the afternoon drive right here on FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX, FM WVLY 97.7, and AM 1370 right there. That was Parmalee, Just the Way You Are, with Blanco, and here with Justin West, the one of the best sound engineers here in the Ohio Valley when it comes to local entertainment. We've worked Parmalee before,
yes.
When they were at Generations,
sure
and they're a great group to work with. And
they're very nice, actually. Very level-headed, which is kind of a rarity in today's industry sometimes.
Absolutely, we've seen some head cases behind the scenes too.
Yes,
But that concert, got to go to that. That was 4th of July weekend down in Waynesboro, Tennessee. It was so good just to kind of be back in that atmosphere. And those guys, they had a couple good hits or in the early parts of 2010, 11, 12, and things like that. And then they came out with this hit. And I talked to the promoter of that concert that night, and their price tag, just skyrocketed. It went from around $22,000 to $75,000 just because of this song. It was a huge hit right now. So once again, that was Parmalee. Just the Way You Are right there with Blanco. All right, Justin, let's talk about your new company here, Avast. Integrations.
Yep.
Talk about your company real quick.
It's a company started, it's basically a continuation of the career I had with CA House, actually doing installations and stuff.
Yeah.
CA House shut down their installation department, and in an agreement, we just kind of continued on through me. I still got a good relationship with CA House Music.
They're great over there. Yeah, it's a shame what happened, but
Yeah.
man, I tell you what, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys were taking that to another level here in the Ohio Valley.
Right.
And you guys were doing bigger events across the country.
Yeah, we were touring all over the place. And then the production company folded, and so basically what happens, I just created my own company, and I'm just continuing on from what I was doing.
And you did this right when COVID hit. You
Yeah.
did this in March.
Yeah, the company officially launched in March. So we started out with a real high, I was getting on airplanes, traveling the country, doing shows, and then bam,
just,
it's over.
Welcome to owning your own business.
Yeah, right?
That's what it's like. Yeah, so talk about a few places. I see your pamphlet, very professional.
Thank
I
you.
got your business card. Anybody out there that is looking for this type of work, basically just get a hold of me. I'll give you their information. It looks very professional. I like it. John Marshall, Monarch Stadium. You guys did the PA there? You guys put that in?
We did do that, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Generations, of course, we've worked there a lot. You did the whole PA system in the house inside.
Yeah.
You did that. And that rig's still in there.
It's still in there, yep.
Yep, that's great. And then where else? A couple other churches you said here too?
Yeah, there's a lot of churches in the valley, man. There's just almost too many to mention,
Oh, absolutely.
Even here recently, the newest trend right now is all the churches were forced to go to some type of live streaming.
Oh, that's where it's at right now, virtual.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so it was a very temporary setup because everybody thought this would be a temporary thing. And now churches are wanting to integrate that permanently since they've seen it. There's a lot of positive feedback from going live streaming. So that's actually the number one thing we're doing right now is installing live streaming systems permanently
That's
into
awesome.
these churches. So.
We need to get you with us for Friday Night Lights once we get things kicked off because now with Ohio allowing football,
Yeah.
That's our focus right now is live streaming because we can't have all the fans there.
Sure.
They're going to want to watch. And before today's announcement, I know DeWine had also said that he can actually, the schools can actually work out deals with medias.
Right.
And I know this radio station here, they do a wonderful job with high school football too as well.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to mention, I don't think, the TV stations around here locally. Lola, am I allowed to, what's the restrictions on the TV stations? Am I allowed to say them or no?
Well, it's TRF has a sports zone, and they do a lot of
Yeah.
previews and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Scott Nolte's on our Friday afternoon sports show.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, awesome. So, everybody's, got their hands pretty much in this. So, that might be an opportunity for you, too, to work with some of these schools because, where's they going to get this revenue at, with, not having a lot of fans in the stands.
Right.
So that might be something else. Now, are you traveling at all? Are you heading up into the PA parts or further out in Ohio to do these installs at all, or is it just locally here?
We've been in mid-Ohio, out towards Columbus, Zanesville. We've done some in Pennsylvania. But, the range is limitless. I mean, in my career, I've been Florida, Texas, Arizona, you name it.
Yeah.
So, it's been one of those things where right now we're just starting out local. I'm trying to get my name out there so people know that there was a shift in install companies in the valley. But, even if you call CA House, they'll tell you that I'm
Send it right to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I tell you what, I miss seeing that gang, and we've had a lot of great times together, which we're going to talk about later on here. But, you talked about the local stuff. Let's go to the local entertainment. We've also got to work with a lot of local musicians, a lot of very talented folks. Name drop a couple that you like to work with before that, you appreciated their set lists, the way they handle themselves.
A lot of professionals. I mean, you'd be amazed how many truly professional people we have locally. Like Roger Horde.
Oh, Roger's
Dan,
on that top of that mountain.
Yeah,
today,
he is. Dan Jones, Chad Smith, and like MSM, all those guys. Pocket Change with Aaron Huffman, for example. And Ezra Hamilton. He's great to work with.
Got a great voice.
Yeah, he does. Good attitude too. He's a really nice guy. So, but a lot of those guys. Every time I've worked with them, it's been nothing but professionalism and even friendship. We've worked together so many times. There's always the hugs and the high fives and the laughs and the jokes and, give and take, on technical sides, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I know. I always joke around. I'm like, man, I get along with more musicians and sound crew guys than I do with the other DJs here. Now, the radio DJs are different, but the other DJs that play out, at the weddings and the clubs and things like that, I seem like I get along more with the musicians. It seems like it's a lot more close-knit group.
Yeah.
And I've said from day one, I'm like, man, in this industry as a DJ, like, man, you earn the respect of a sound guy, you earn the respect of a musician. that's the ultimate right there because, on our end, we're just hit and play, we're just scratching this and that, but where we have unlimited amounts of music to where musicians are limited, on what they can perform. And, but yeah, no, you hit it, man, right on there. And, I thought about all those guys and we've done some virtual stuff. And I find myself now too, like just, wanting to work with a younger generation. There's a lot of young up and coming talent. We do that Lou Beidle up at Quaker State. When you look at that tree that's come off of that, from that contest that have opened up and started playing now, locally, I love to see that expand more. And I'd like to see us dabble into the high school and college level more and be like, hey, let's get these young guys in here, young girls in here, and kind of teach them the ropes of, don't walk into a place, even if you're playing for 10 people, don't treat it like you're playing for 10 people. Treat it like you're playing a concert. Treat it like you're playing like a very professional set. Because you don't know who's watching.
That's right.
And, you need the followers and, you want to obviously make a good impression and things like that. But just because you don't have a crowd doesn't mean that you have to stop, the professional part of it. So, so let's talk about what we've done in the past together.
Oh, man. There's been some adventures, I'll tell you that.
So you start generations pretty much.
Yeah.
We did a lot of concerts. Do you remember everybody we played with?
Well, name-wise is kind of tough. I mean, I can picture them, we did the country rap group. What was I can't remember that name.
You're talking about, you asked me too quick. I know who you're talking about.
Anyway.
You asked me too quick. Yeah.
But, there's been...
Those guys were great to work with. It seemed like they kept getting... It became more of a hassle every time they came.
Absolutely.
And I was like, okay.
They're good for curveballs. They'll throw something out at us like, we're going to do this. I'm like, we got 5 minutes here, man. You want me to...
Absolutely.
But that's one of those things. That's why I like working with you, though, to be honest with you, because you and I we'll just... Hey, we can handle it. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
And we walk away and sweat it out, but we figure it out.
Behind the scenes, there's some expletives going on.
Yeah,
And no, I get that. My biggest pet peeve was always with the tour manager when they're like, "Well, we have our own intro," and I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." I'm like, "Well, what's the songs on it?" And they're like, "Why do you need the songs?" I'm like, "So I don't play the same stuff. I'm like, I don't want to hear the same song twice." And they're looking at me with that dumb look on their face.
Right.
I'm like, "Look, I need this. I'm like, I don't want to just,
It's tough to get out of a lot of tour managers and, production managers and stuff. There's been even major shows I've walked in on, it's like, here's a stage plot. They send it to an email. We get there, we set it up. And they're like, that was our stage plot from 1982. I'm like, what good does that do me? Why did you send it to me? So you gotta run on the fly and try to change things up.
No, absolutely. Were you with us when we did Randy Hauser?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I remember Randy, he had How Country Feels, wasn't even released. That was his sound check song. And I remember just sitting up there and I was like, what is this song? And I was like, it blew me out of the water. And I was like, and then we got through that and it was just, the next week it was released on country radio and then it became, a hit obviously for him. I know Jason Michael Carroll, we've worked with him a good bit. Jason's a great guy to work with.
Yeah.
He was great. Chris Cagle.
Yep.
Chris Cagle, the infamous the infamous gig where I had to come. A police officer was driving me from the wedding to Generations.
I remember
so I could get my set in and then drive me back to the wedding. That was crazy. But yeah, Cagle was big. Were you part with Eric Church? I wasn't a part of that one. Eric Church and Luke Bryant, I wasn't a part of those.
No, that was actually right before we started.
We all started,
stuff,
yeah, and that was great. I mean, like it doesn't get any bigger than those two.
Right.
I mean, I remember like the last time Luke Bryant was in here. It was Country Girl Shake It For Me came out. It was like How Country Feels. It was like the next week.
Yeah.
Bam, here comes this, and then everything just kind of escalated.
Right.
And it's cool to kind of see that, but and you see the kind of everybody's attitudes, and some guys are great. You know who I would like to work with? Granger Smith.
Oh yeah.
Granger was so nice, and we got pulled inside that year.
Yeah.
Because of the weather.
Yeah, we did.
And
but they were very professional about it.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, it is what it is. Let's make this work. You know. And it was a much smaller space, but. Pulled it off, man.
Yeah.
One of those things.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think about, not sure if they're going to do that again down the road over Generations or not, but, just think about, 20 years down the road, like, we left our legacy a little bit. We were a part of all that stuff, and it was so cool to be a part of that. And we busted our butts, and we did the best job we could. And
absolutely.
We had a lot of fun.
Yes,
we had a lot of fun with it too. We got the crowds ready to go, and it was a good time.
That's the best part about it, though, man. You get those crowds fired up. You know what I mean? You hear everybody cheering. I mean, I still to this day, like I said, I've been doing it 20 years, and still to this day, the hairs on my arms will stand up. You know, it's just something that's inside of me. It's one of those deals where
if you don't experience it, you're not going to understand it.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. You know.
Yeah. Now, from the high school level, we ended up working one of our biggest productions we did together. The Prom 2.0, the infamous prom back in 2000, I think it was 15 or 16, where a local high school, which I'm not going to say what high school it was, but they basically the prom was somewhat sabotaged a little bit.
Right.
And we were the ones behind that, throwing that Prom 2.0 at the McClure.
Yeah.
And we had over 600 kids there. And that was, I remember that. Our friend Doug was with us, Doug Boston.
Yeah.
He helped us. Malarkey was with us at that point too.
Chris Markle.
Chris Markle. Yeah, I mean, that was the crew right there. I mean, you three put together, I was like, man, that's my ultimate right there. And, I miss Markle, man. I seen Malarkey a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or Malarkey. I saw him a couple weeks ago at Kroger's. And, of course, he's at the Capitol.
Yeah.
He's being affected by everything too, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I talk to him regularly.
Yeah, we want to wish him the best and stuff.
Same thing with Chris,
Yeah, and but that was great. The Prom 2.0 was great, and then of course our big production together, Jamboree. We got to do that after party.
Yeah, that was great.
And that was just
it
was insane.
It was insane. You know, the rush of it, but everything was put together pretty well. I thought.
I felt like you were the only one that could relate to what I was going through in my head, because I had a lot of pressure, because that was the year they changed everything to Jambo Country, and then they changed it back.
Yeah.
So you had that whole fiasco.
Right.
Neil McCoy was not on the lineup, and then they bring him in for Wednesday, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I got to open up for this guy. I'm like, how he is. He's all over the place. And I'm like, okay, and I'm like, I know the band that I'm working with, that's the opening band for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, and then on top of that, DJ Silver's coming in on Friday.
Right.
To do the show with Jason Aldean. So now I'm going to, the comparisons are going to start.
Yeah.
And I don't compare myself to another DJ, but I knew that was going to come.
Absolutely.
And I'm playing right after Thomas Rhett that Thursday night for the After Dark party. It's the first night.
Yeah.
And we'll talk in a second about, what I had to go through behind the scenes. But you had to kind of go through what I had to go through, because you were trying to get that bid to get the sound crew that was doing Jamboree, because you wanted inside of that.
Yeah, we wanted to do the main stage.
And you guys would have done awesome with it.
Yeah, well, we were working up there, but they were in the middle of a contract at the time. And little did we all know at that time the contract was running out overall.
Yeah. We didn't know that. Yeah.
But it was kind of, I don't want to say it was an audition, but it was kind of, they were feeling us out to see if we could handle a crowd of that size.
Yeah.
So. Though I made a lot of good friends, met some interesting people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They were all very warm and welcoming, and we got, everything went great though. I can't complain about anything that happened there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, you saw my live feed I did from Jamboree.
Yeah.
So I kind of snuck into Jamboree when I came back from Iowa and did a live feed, because everybody was sharing their Jamboree and Hill stories. So I was like, well, you know what, I'm going to do a live feed. And I was like, I'm just going to do it in like Blue Bee. So you just see me propped down on a cooler drinking a cold beer, and I'm just relaxing, sharing stories. But yeah, man, I mean, that whole weekend was huge, and I felt like it was a lot of pressure for us to perform, because we were getting looked at a lot.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, could you guys potentially down the road get that whole production inside?
Right.
And could I potentially try to get all 4 days to play the music in between sets and kind of work with the crews and stuff? And I'll never forget, Neil McCoy, when I asked him, I was like, do you have a playlist? And he's like, what's that? And I was like, what? And he's like, we're just kind of winging it. And I was like, that's my line. I was like,
you can't take that.
No. So I'm like running through these songs. He was really cool. Now, his tour manager, I felt like was good cop, bad cop. I felt like Neil was a good cop.
Oh, sure.
Neil's tour manager was a bad cop.
Right.
And the difference is, you run into this, everybody's different. And I remember the year before, Phil Vassar, his crew was awesome to work with. Phil Vassar's store manager. Yeah. He was like, Danner, you got 10 minutes. You got 5 minutes. You got 1 minute. Hey, he's going to give you 6 more minutes. I mean, it was literally like that. Yeah. Neil's guy was just like, we're going to tell you when we tell you. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure out, how do I end this? What's it coming out to? Right. I want to kind of blend it in, Sure. And, the night before we kicked off the After Dark party. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, not that night, the Tuesday night. I had rehearsal. Yeah. And one of the sponsors came in and was like, can you fill a whole 2-hour set? And I'm like, no, I want 3 hours. I'm like, what, they're like,
Right,
we're
good.
worried. We might
One more. I
Yeah,
like-
because you remember there was a band that was mentioned that,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what band it was, but there was a band that was mentioned, like maybe we give them some slots and let you have only maybe half of it. And I was like, no, I was like, don't take this away.
Yeah.
I'm like,
This is my moment, man.
this is my moment. I've earned this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I promise I'm going to produce.
Right.
And it was a good time. It was just the energy level, it's a huge rush.
It is.
I mean, it's hard
It
to
is, you know.
explain if you haven't got to experience it, but it's just,
Yeah.
you get a bunch of rednecks drunk in a field. I mean, it's just, man, hearing them all sing, even if it's not songs I wrote,
Right.
or songs he plays, just to be a part of that, it's just
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
On my end, it's cool to have that power under your fingertips.
Oh, absolutely.
I got all that audio and lighting and everything. It's all under my fingertips. I mean, I control the show at that point. A lot of people don't realize that one guy in the back can shut it all down.
Why do you think I always give you guys shout outs? I'm like, look, we don't sound good without
Right,
you.
yeah,
This does not happen.
We got one. There's a magic button back there. It says good night to everybody.
I'm sure you heard my line because I say it all the time, especially when ones I don't work with.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's your world. I'm living in it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I've heard
I'm
that,
like,
yeah.
look, I'm here to make it easy. Quick story. Do we have time for a quick story? Real quick, Lola? So, I'm not going to say who the sound engineer was here locally, but it was hilarious. Not the time it happened. I walk into the Capitol to open up for Craig Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in and a sound engineer person's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, and I'm just scared,
Yeah, right.
I'm scared of a word I can't say right now on the air. And I'm like, well, I'm just here to set up. And he's like, I didn't think we were having a DJ. And I was kind of like, well, and I'm like ready to turn around and just walk out.
yeah.
And then the Plaga comes in and he's like, no, he's good. He's going to play.
Right.
And I was scared. I'm like, dude, it's your world. I'm just living in it.
Yeah,
And,
right. That's so
you
true,
know,
though.
I'm not going to name drop who that was, but we have a very unique relationship. And he completely changed his tone. A year down the road with me, and it was like, man, it felt like I earned his respect.
Right.
And it was kind of like one of those things, like he's going to be tough on me.
Sure.
DJs.
Yeah.
You play pre-recorded music. You're not a musician. I get it.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. I'm like bottom of the totem pole.
Entertainment's entertainment, though, man.
That's why
I
I'm
don't care
like,
what
I
you're
don't
doing.
know why DJs have attitudes, or
Yeah.
like why they have egos. I'm like, really, dude? Like, we're at the bottom of the totem pole. Like, it's like, I don't know where you're at, but listen, I'm down here. Like, I know where I'm at on this.
No, don't say that because you're a performer too, man. You're up there. You're not just up there pressing buttons, and that's why EDM and all that. Those guys, I mean, they're huge stars. They're just DJs. They're playing music. Obviously, some of it they've composed, but some of it's not. But you guys are performers. You have to get that crowd hyped. I mean, I remember even at the Jambo After Dark party. You had that crowd jumping and screaming and everything else, and it wasn't really even country music at that time.
No, it was a mix of a bunch
you were
of
mixing all types of stuff, but
Yeah.
you had that crowd that was very country specific, jumping around, dancing. They were enjoying your entertainment, and that's
what you're trying to do.
That's something to be proud of, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
it's cool. I mean, it's just you feed off of they feed off your energy, then you feed off of their energy. When all
Right.
that mixes into together, it's good to go. So we'll be back here after our break once again, powered by Voss Water. Voss Water does not know I'm drinking their water, but we have to start somewhere with sponsorships. So if I can get a free case of water out of it, I'll take it.
That's a win.
Yeah, that's a win. See? Thanks, Justin.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
At Wheeling Hospital, we're doing amazing things with cardiac care. We're implanting the world's smallest heart pump to help keep it beating as we open clogged arteries, and replacing aortic valves without open heart surgery. We're also greatly reducing the chance of stroke by implanting a small device in the heart for certain patients with atrial fib, again without open heart surgery. Amazing cardiac care, amazing cardiac specialists, only at Wheeling Hospital.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all?
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Over 2.5 million Americans suffer from opioid use disorder. Treatment is not one size fits all. Medication-assisted treatment, also known as MAT, is the use of FDA-approved medication in combination with counseling. Remember, different treatments work for different individuals. The goal, no matter what the treatment is the same: help and continued growth and recovery. Go to helpandhopewv.org for more information.
The end of summer event is on at your Toyota dealer, meaning right now is the best time to save big on the car, truck, or SUV you've been dreaming of, like an off-road ready 4Runner or a rugged Tacoma, both available with 1,000 cash back. Or go in an adventurous RAV4, the best-selling SUV in America, and get 1,500 cash back. Take 1,500 back on a stylish Corolla, or 2,000 back on a sporty new Camry. Or get 2,500 cash back on the rugged half-ton Tundra. You can even drive away in a spacious Highlander with enough room for the whole family right now with 1,000 cash back, plus 500 bonus cash from Toyota. Shop for more great savings at Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com. You can take cash back or apply toward down payment. Bonus cash must be applied toward down payment. Some offers may exclude TRD Pro models. See your dealer for details. The end of summer event is on at Toyota. So go see your dealer today. Offers end August 31st. Toyota.
Managing your business can be a minefield. One step in the wrong direction, and it can feel like everything you've worked for is at risk. I always had a vision of building a team, a crew of true professionals that can handle it all: tax, insurance, and investments. Big enough to partner with Encova, but personal enough to protect your interests on the home front. I'm Gary, and this is the Glessner Group.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. West Virginia University Dean of Students Corey Ferris says meetings began tomorrow with students believed to be involved in parties last weekend in Morgantown that appeared to be violating COVID-19 guidelines. Ferris says the warnings are over.
We want to be calling those students in and we'll meet appropriate conduct with them, and that's all the way up to suspension or expulsion from the university.
Ferris saying today on Metro News Talkline, WVU is adding to the list, working with police and from tips from other students. Logan County remains the only county in West Virginia color-coded red with a high 7-day rolling average of new COVID-19 cases. There are now only 3 counties in the orange category. State coronavirus czar Dr. Clay Marr says orange is the key coding.
When you turn orange is really a time that the community should really start to double down on the mitigation efforts, where we're bringing all the public health people in, making recommendations, from the local health departments and the counties and all the public health people about what specific mitigation strategies can be done.
Lincoln, Boone, and Mingo counties are currently in that orange. U.S. Senator Joe Manchin speaking out more today concerning that dispute of funding for the U.S. Postal Service and the Trump administration. Manchin telling reporters at midday today.
Mr. President, please quit villainizing the institution that helped that helped build America, that made us the country that we are, that united us.
You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Governor Jim Justice announcing today an additional $1.14 million from his civil contingency fund to help fairs and festivals. This is in addition to the money they receive from the state budget. Justice says the organizations have suffered this year because of the pandemic. A busy Charleston-based healthcare clinic is closed for the rest of the day. Deep cleaning scheduled for West Virginia Health Right after a staff member tested positive for COVID-19. The clinic is scheduled to reopen tomorrow morning. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Catch Biff Leonard on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Weekday morning, 7 to 10 a.m. Only on the Watchdog. Live and local talk radio. Just the way you like it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to The Watchdog. My name is DJ Danner, taking you through the afternoon drive here on FM 98.1, AM 1600, WKKX, FM WVLY 97.7, and AM 1370. Getting in here to our next guest here. She is the #1 wedding coordinator in the Ohio Valley. I am not being biased. I'm just speaking the truth. Miss Ashley Dunlap from Ogilby.
Yeah.
If we had the clapper, like we need to get the audio for that. If I get to come back and do this again, that's what we need for the guests. We need like fake clapping in the background.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. How's it going?
It is busy. It is busy, but we're excited to be busy, right? Just
Yeah,
with all
absolutely.
this craziness of COVID, you wouldn't
Right.
expect to be busy, but
Yeah.
it's exciting that, Governor Justice made our weddings essential here in West Virginia. So
That's great.
once that became a thing, it was, there's no reason why weddings shouldn't be essential. Nobody should stop getting married.
Keeps us in business.
It does, yes. And
We like that.
yes, we want to stay in business.
And I like the parties.
Yes. It works out for everyone.
So I got the text message Sunday night. Hey, do you want to host the show on Tuesday? So, I didn't have a lot of time to kind of plan this out. But I thought, I gave the segments that I wanted to talk about. And I was like, you know what? It makes so much sense to have you in here because I feel like, somebody that's in the wedding industry, you guys have really taken the venue aspect of it and set that bar of, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick with this and we're going to go with it. And you're kind of leading by example and you need to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that a lot of other places in the Ohio Valley are kind of watching what you guys are doing. You guys had fireworks at one point. I think it was for Memorial Day. Everybody else was canceling stuff. And it's like you guys still went with it. And, so what's up at Ogilby? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, what's up at Ogilby?
I love
Thank
that
you,
segment,
Lindsay.
by the
Oh,
way.
me too. Lindsay
She's
does
amazing.
She is. Lindsay's amazing.
They hit a home run with that. Marketing with her, she absolutely amazing.
Well, it's nice just to see every week what we're doing.
Yeah.
Even if it's the same thing, it's just cool to see different shots of the park. And
she changes it up.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
She's awesome at what she does.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, our #1 concern is safety. It's more about, keeping the guests safe and their, comfortability level. Like, we want to keep everyone feeling safe in their venue and their environment with their stay. We even have like little door hangers when a room has been sanitized. Like, no one is allowed to enter it, even to tour it, to look at it. That room has been sanitized and awaiting the guest that's there to check in. So that's the whole other aspect of, what we do at Ogilby. So more than anything is keeping our staff safe as well. So following, the proper PPE and just basically masks, gloves, anything where we're serving food, keeping distance as well, constantly moving throughout the room. But what's really great at Ogilby is we don't require any social distancing, no masks, alcohol is allowed, dance floors are allowed during the wedding. So I know a lot of other states are kind of prohibiting those
We just talked about that off the air. I was in PA last weekend, and the coordinator, I'm like, we're already butting heads. He's like, you can't have them dance. And I'm like, oh, you're...
like, what do you do?
I got a job to do, brother. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, nobody's going to, nobody's going to call you, And I've been trying to tell everybody when we do the weddings, I'm like, tell your guests stay off social media. Like, post the pictures and videos the next day. I'm like, nobody even knows how many I've done. And people ask, and I tell them the actual number of how many I've done since St. Patrick's Day. And they're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no. I'm like, I do them. I just do them quietly. I'm like, there's a way to do it. And you guys, you're a lot of eyes are watching you guys too.
Oh, absolutely.
The health department, everybody and stuff like that. So, you guys really have to kind of be on your toes. But congrats. Because honestly, nobody expected this to happen.
No.
And you guys have stuck with it. You guys have done a great job. And, I was just, being in the wedding industry, I just wanted to tell you congratulations.
Well, thanks.
So let's talk real quick about when all this unfolded. So when did it start sinking in, not from Ogilvy's standpoint, from your standpoint? When did it start sinking into you that, we have a problem? This is more severe than what...
Oh, yeah. You're like, what is actually happening right now in the country, in the world?
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing weddings for 12 years. So I did the Orlando market for a long time. So
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, moving back to where I'm from here in Wheeling, I was like, okay, it's going to be a completely different market here. But, things still book pretty far in advance and pretty fast in this area just because we're right next to Pittsburgh and Columbus.
In Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, no, Cleveland, Akron.
Yeah.
They all come down here.
Yeah.
But it definitely sunk in that probably second week of March for weddings. Because we were like, oh, this is going to be over, in June and May. I'm telling my May weddings, my first weekend May weddings. You're fine.
I was supposed to be there.
Yeah. I'm like, you're fine. This is going to be gone,
May 7th. At Glessner. Yeah.
And then as I started to watch more, because I was keeping up with the news, outlets and trying to see, what was going to happen for events. And definitely that first week of April, I was like, we're in big trouble. I was like, this is looking like a complete shutdown as far as, and then they were talking about the step-by-step process of how we're opening back up. And I'm like, wait a minute. We're talking about now mid-July of possibly not having weddings. So it was definitely like contacting all our clients, easing their worries, but basically saying it's a state-by-state decision.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that our governor is going to decide our fate. But we were trying to stay positive. That was probably the hardest thing, is because, this being in this business, we don't know what's going on. They want answers, and they're looking to us. We're the professionals.
And what I'd say, what I couldn't stand, and I told I contacted, everything started sinking in St. Patrick's Day, and that was the last time I was actually out at a bar in the Ohio Valley. I have not been out since that night, and that was the last night. And I got our team ready to go the next day. I said, look, I'm calling everybody today on the 18th, and that's what I did. Got our game plan to set for into April, into May. Thought it was going to be over in May, obviously, and then we kind of just went from there. But I called every one of my brides, and I'm like, look, shut your phone off. Do not listen to the bridesmaids. Do not listen to the parents. I'm like, you have to breathe for a second. You have to be relaxed. It's going to work out at some point. We don't know how yet. But it's kind of like, man, you have to calm them down. And your part of it's a lot harder than mine because, just as the DJ standpoint, obviously I dabble into the coordinating part outside of Ogilvy. We'll do some of the other parts. But, for the most part, you guys handle everything up there. So, your plate was completely full, way more than mine was.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine the amount of times brides have called crying, freaking out, saying, hey, listen, I got into an argument with a relative over this. They're not coming. They don't want me to, this and that. So.
Oh, that's what you're dealing with now, is that the bride and grooms are so excited to get married. They're like, okay, this is happening, but they're so brokenhearted because we're seeing 250 guest counts go down to 100.
Yep.
I've never seen anything like it. So Ogilvy has been so gracious as far as understanding that not as many guests are coming to your event anymore, and really altering that event for them. So that's been the best part, is being like, this wedding is happening for you. It may not have, it's not as envisioned as you saw it, with as not as many guests, but it's still happening. So that's what's exciting. But yeah, a lot of tears, a lot of heartache, a lot of stress for these brides and grooms. It's just, and as funny as it is, I think family tries to help, but at the same time, they make it very scary and sad for them.
They make it worse.
I know. And when they call us, we're like, actually, it looks like this.
Yeah. The amount of story. that DJ book, I'm in chapter 18 right now. And I tell you what, COVID's probably taken five chapters alone, just on the wedding standpoint.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we've had a couple up at your place, and they've rescheduled twice.
Oh,
and they kind of had to. once we got to May and I started seeing, okay, everything in the fall now is going to be affected. I was at the point, I'm like, look, I'm just push everybody. I'm like, just everybody's moved to 2021. And if you're going to do a last minute wedding or if you're going to do a smaller adjustment, then we'll do those ones. But we still got some big ones coming up here in the fall. And it's just, I'm glad that we're getting them in. But back then in May, I'm like, man, like, don't worry about the headache. Just reschedule it. I'm like, you're still marrying the love of your life.
Oh, yeah.
You can still do the ceremony, too, this year, and then just do the big party next year.
That's what we really put our focus on, like elope. Come back and have your reception next year.
And do it on your wedding day, which is a Sunday.
Yeah, awesome. I know.
It'd be amazing, Now, let's talk, how many halls do you have up there, specifically at Ogilvy?
Yeah, so we have 3 main halls. So we have that Pine Room, the Glessner Auditorium, and the Banquet View Rooms. Glessner Auditorium is probably our most picked, with Pine Room coming in second. And also Banquet View Rooms, but they all hold a good number. So Glessner obviously holds the most, and it holds almost 400. But just in 2 weeks now, I'm doing a 250-person wedding in there, and that's their
awesome.
Final count. So it's so exciting.
That's great. Glessner, there's something magical about that place. I mean, every time I'm in there, the crowd, the atmosphere, the way it looks. I mean, your ceiling guy, I know it's not really you guys, but you guys subcontract him out. What's his name again?
Scott Klinkowski.
Scott is the best. I mean, we do a little bit of ceiling treatments, but Scott takes it to another level. I mean, and
he's amazing at what he does.
Ones,
yeah.
Scott does the big ones, and anybody says, do you want to do a? I'm like, Scott.
No, seriously.
Scott.
Yeah, just go to Scott.
Scott takes that place, and then when you get the people in there, some of my best weddings ever were held at that place. It's just, there's just a vibe about that building.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, man, just when you walk in, it's just, it's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a good time. And we have a good time. Now, outside, you have the shelters, of course.
Of course,
The big ones that you use, which ones are those?
Camp Russell. Caddy Camp's the smaller version of Camp Russell. Yeah. Levinson Shelter, Holler Shelter. Those are probably the most picked for weddings. What's nice, that's what's great about Ogilvy. You have like your, classic event, but you also have like your shelter events, which is super cool. Like if it's outside catering, it's outside alcohol, no fee, $365. You're not going to find it anywhere else.
No, absolutely.
So we have like all options, which is really cool.
I was up there with you guys last month when I was in and out of town. We had a Thursday wedding.
Yep, absolutely.
That was a great time.
I know. Thursday weddings are fun.
Thursday weddings are a great time. That was at the Fort Henry.
The Fort Henry room, yep.
That couple was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I remember them now.
I was flying back from Arkansas.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm on the plane, and I get this text message, and it's one of the photographers around the Ohio Valley.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, turn around, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, I was doing a photo shoot. What are you doing down here, I was like, well, that's just random. And I was like, well, I'm heading to Ogilvy. I was like, I got a wedding here coming up here.
In like a few hours. No.
I got to get back. It's like, got to call Thursday on the drive down, or got to call that Tuesday about it. And it was like, okay, here's the turnaround. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, that couple booked 2 weeks before that. He literally called and was like, we want to get married on that Thursday. And we were like, okay, let's do this.
And here's the thing. People don't understand. Sometimes when you plan it that short, it goes really smooth.
Oh, his wedding was perfect. Their wedding was perfect.
So smooth. It's like, you know what? Sometimes you put too much thought into it. And I've always said this too. I'm like, karma comes back. When you actually sit and think, you're like, oh, I'm stressing about all this. And I'm like, something's going to go wrong. And I've had that happen at weddings. Not with me, but just with something else at that lady's wedding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you overthought it. At the end of the night, she's having a cocktail, and I'm finally unwinding a little bit. I'm like, you overthought it, honey. That's what happened. I'm like, that's why that happened. She goes, well, it was perfect other than that one thing. And I'm like,
Doesn't matter.
I'm like, it's just you sweating it, not nobody else. Your guests don't care. They had a good time.
Oh yeah, your guest probably has no idea that happened.
You want to know one of the best reasons why I love working with you guys? Is because I know guaranteed that I'm not going to have a cake catastrophe. In the past 3 years, I've had so many wedding cakes melt, get knocked over, not by me or my staff, but just get knocked over. We've had to go rush get cakes. It's just the cake fiasco of 2019. It was severe.
The year of the cakes.
The year of the cakes was 2019. And I'm like, when you get up there and it's like, you got it all nice looking, amazing, And the staff is very quick, and this is one of the things that I want to give you credit on too. So I have my own list of, hey, here's my top tier people that I like to work with. And your staff in general, just the transition from dinner and the cake and getting the cake diced up. I've seen so many times at other places, cake just goes wasted because nobody cuts it up or they don't have a coordinator, this and that. And just the staff at Ogilvy. Wheeling Island's another one. I'll tell you right now, Wheeling Island's really good, and Theo's is really good. When you talk about the catering crews,
Yes.
I mean, it's just, you guys are on point. I mean, just on top of it all the time.
And that's a selling point because we actually serve the cake at the setting. So your guest is not going to get cake, which you're paying for that. So that's, I see it all the time. Like when I used to do a lot of events in Orlando and I was subcontracted as a coordinator, I would be like trying to track down the caterer, like, why didn't you serve the cake? Like, where's the cake? Like, they paid for this.
Yeah.
So I know, right? We actually have it down to a science. Like, you cut your cake, that cake is pulled. Like, we're pulling that cake to the back. It's cut up nice, served right to your guest. We already make a separate tier for them to take home. So when they're like, hey, where's my tier to take home? It's already on the gift table with a bow on it. Like, it's like ready for them to take and go. So
now I'm going to bring this up because it's the truth. You know, before you came up there,
Yes.
you know, Ogilvy was not very well coordinated.
I heard that.
With the staff. Now, and you've taken this to another level. We don't need to talk money, but I know you and me have talked privately, not about money, about what you make, but just about what you've brought in revenue-wise for Ogilvy, and it's a pretty significant number.
Yes.
And you've nailed it so far. How many coordinators do you specifically have with you on staff?
Yeah, so I have Lauren, who's my supplemental seller, as well as a coordinator. And then I have Cassie, who's my full-time coordinator. So Cassie Holstein and Lauren Mitchell, they are amazing. It was actually funny. So Lauren worked at Disney as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
She worked at Hollywood Studios. So I was like, no matter what, you're on my team.
There you go.
Like you worked at Disney. It's perfect. And then Cassie actually did weddings in Columbus area. And she worked for a private planner and florist in the area. So she has a lot of knowledge. And I'm like the high-strung, like, woo, let's do this.
Well, you got to be, when you're in charge and you're the leader, you got to be that way. Yeah.
And Cassie's very like cool, calm, and collected, and Lauren's like a mixture of both. So we really level each other out.
Yeah, that's the best thing, is to level each other out. You know, in this industry too, we see it a lot in the wedding industry. You see vendors that you're like, why are you in this industry?
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? Like, you can't say it, but you're thinking it, and then we have private conversations behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, talk about that passion that you have to have. You know, from a DJ standpoint, if I see a DJ sitting, if I see a DJ eating or drinking on the job consistently throughout the whole reception, I'm like, what are you doing?
What is going on?
Why are you here? You know, what are you doing? This is not, the time to do that kind of stuff. So it's like, you have to have a passion for it. You have to, want to be in this industry, but just talk about, having that kind of attitude, knowing that your weekends are always gone.
Right.
Family time sometimes gets a back seat sometimes.
It does.
You're always late to the, the cookouts and things like that.
You're showing up at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Nobody's buying your idea of doing a Monday brunch barbecue. Nobody's buying, because everybody's working 9 to 5.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, you're kind of like left in the dark a little bit.
Yes.
But just talk about a little bit real quick about that, having that positive attitude.
Yeah, I definitely think when, you do the tours and everyone's like, oh, I'd love to have your job. And I love that. It is cool. It's interesting. I labeled it as this: high stress, high reward. So at the end of the day, you get to make that dream come true for them. I mean, they've been dreaming about this day their whole lives. Grooms can say that they don't, but they definitely do. They had that idea of what that party looked like.
Yep.
So it's really exciting to walk away and be like, I am so glad that went off without a hitch. There was no problems. And they had the best day ever. Even if there was like a slight problem, it was surpassed by the expectation that you brought to them.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely a high reward position. And honestly, I love having Sunday, Mondays off. I mean, granted, we have Sunday weddings,
This
but
is like my Sunday.
Yeah.
Tuesday's like my Sunday.
Yeah, and sometimes I like weekdays.
I do
Nobody's
too.
around. You can shop in the grocery store and nobody's
She's
there.
taking everything out of my mouth. I mean, exactly what she's saying.
I'm like,
you
yes.
get sick of the general public sometimes. You do.
Don't get me wrong, I love
love
customer
it.
service.
Yeah, I do too.
But it's nice to go shopping. I mean, it's sad I'm wearing a hat and sunglasses, when I'm in the grocery store because you have to.
Well, that's what's great about these things. It's just kind of like,
nobody knows who you are.
yeah, I'm like, are you saying hi? You giving me a hug? You robbing me? What are we doing here? I don't know really what's going on with the mask right now.
Yes.
But yeah, funny story. Not funny story. One of the coolest stories that I've done as a DJ, I got to tell you, from your place. We were up at Glessner, which we talked about. How just something magical about that place.
Yeah.
And this wedding couple was coming in from Ohio, up around, I think, Akron, Canton. And I think it was her maid of honor. She was pregnant.
Okay.
And they were from Chicago.
Okay.
And they were coming in. We all met at the Glassworks to have drinks the night before, went over music and stuff. Very relaxed. Groom ended up coming out. I was like, man, if this guy was local, we would be hanging out all the time. Like, we just kind of clicked. And my biggest pet peeve at weddings is when somebody says, hey man, can you play my wife and Ma's anniversary song? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, it's not your wedding. I'm like, stop doing that. I cannot stand that. It just drives me nuts. And we started talking about what music they were picking for their first dance. This guy starts doing the same thing. He's like, man, he goes, it's a great song. And I thought he was going to go into, you need to play that.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, he goes, there's this Thomas Rhett song that never got released to radio. And he goes, that was our first dance. And I let him finish up, and we talked, and I was like, okay. I was like, this guy's not pressing the issue for me to play that song. And I knew his wife was pregnant. And we got done. We had the ceremony at the patio, and then we transitioned everything there. So we had 2 different PA systems going. CJ was working with us. And I think I came to you or the other coordinator, and I was like, hey, can we get the back rooms? I think the cocktail hour is back here. What are those rooms called?
Room 5 and 6.
Room 5 and 6. Okay, we need to find a fancy name for them. Though.
We do. I know. It's just room 5 and 6.
Ogilvy, that's my goal, is to have a fancy name for room 5 and 6. So I was like, you care if we just put our PA system that we use for the ceremony, we just put it up and put a set of trees up for lights? And I said, just put it up. And CJ's like, what are you doing? I said, just follow my lead. And I got your clearance or somebody else. I can't remember who was working that night.
Yeah.
And I was like, CJ, I said, take your camera and videotape it. I said, I want you to pull that couple off the dance floor when I slow it down for everybody. And we pulled them into this private room and played their wedding song.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she was pregnant. She was due, I think, in a couple months. And I wanted to do something for them because I was like, man, I get so tired of hearing people ask that all the time at weddings. And this guy was so cool about it. We just clicked. We got to talk. He's going to be a father. And I'm like, man, dude, I want you to experience this and Ogilvy, and I want you to come back.
Absolutely.
And they live in Chicago. And it was one of the coolest things I had actually gotten it done as a DJ behind the scenes. And so CJ, we started playing the song out there, and then we transitioned. So I watched CJ pull them out, and then by the time he got into the room, I snuck back here. So we're also, we're live in the other room, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm praying the kid doesn't come knock a table or something. I'm praying I always have backup stuff. I always back up laptops, and I'm like, please, nothing crash right now.
Right.
Chances are really slim, but I'm like, oh God, So CJ had to run all the way back to finish that song and transition it to the next because we don't have autoplay.
Oh my!
But it was so cool, and I love playing up there. It's just something about, like I said, especially that room. Glessner's it's just another level. So
yeah, and I think it's just those moments right there. That's what makes our jobs worth it.
Yeah.
When you get to have those moments, not just with the couple, but with their guests.
Yeah.
And seeing how much fun they're having. That's a big deal. I think also being at Ogilvy, you have access to everything. You have the bar upstairs. You have tons of rooms to utilize if nobody's utilizing them. It's just you have all that at your fingertips. That's what's really nice about being in a smaller resort.
Absolutely. So now what's 2021 looking like? We got anything new and up and coming? Anything you can release? If not, no big deal. But you got anything? How are we looking into 2021?
So we're super busy in weddings. So we actually have Friday, Saturday, Sunday weddings, which is really exciting. We had a lot of Friday, Saturday this past year, but now we're heading into Sunday weddings, which are really exciting. We have a whole brunch option too, which brunch weddings are so fun. But actually, our banquet view rooms are getting a refurbishment. So
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you could say that. Yeah.
I'm allowed to. Yep. They are going to be.
Fort Henry looks awesome.
I know. Fort Henry has really changed. A lot more brighter, not so. That carpet definitely needed a refresh, and it looks awesome in there. So the banquet view rooms will be done about early December. So we're really excited about that. There's talks of other things. Just our CEO is amazing. He is ready to he's progressive and he likes to move forward, and weddings are his thing. He loves our wedding market. So he's like, let's do this. I'm like, okay, well, I have a list. I need this done, this done. I need a staff of 10.
Well, actually, I don't know what they're going to do with me here. I don't know if I'll get to come back or not.
Yeah.
But if I do get to come back, can we have you back here at some point?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This was fun.
This was fun. Seriously, I appreciate it. Once again, we are powered by Voss Water. Voss Water has no idea I'm drinking their water, but you have to start somewhere with sponsorships. So Voss Water it is. We'll be back right after these commercial breaks.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Changes led to a slowdown in the mail, including medicine and checks that were being delayed, and also aimed at keeping the post office from handling the surge of absentee ballots in this pandemic.
House Democratic Majority Leader Steny Hoyer saying the postmaster had little choice but to reverse course.
Now it appears maybe their hand's been caught in the cookie jar and they're taking it out.
The president's appointed acting postmaster Louis DeJoy saying he will now continue carrier overtime, stop removing sorting machines and mailboxes, and will not close any facilities until after November 3rd to avoid any appearance of impacting the election. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
A new bipartisan report from the Senate Intelligence Committee today, putting new focus on the 2016 campaign interference allegations with Russia.
The nearly 1,000-page report from the Senate Intelligence Committee is its fifth and final examination in a years-long effort to probe Russian meddling in the 2016 election. It describes several episodes where President Trump and members of his campaign were keen to accept Russia's help. One significant new revelation, the report says that some evidence suggests a Russian intelligence officer whom former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort provided campaign polling data to in 2016 may have been directly connected to Russia's hacking and subsequent release of emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign. Catherine Folders, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump earlier in Iowa and now headed to Arizona today to get an update on the border and deliver remarks on immigration. And the Democratic National Convention heading into its second night with the focus on Joe Biden, the man, not the candidate, the keynote speaker, his wife, Dr. Jill Biden. You're listening to ABC News.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Most people know that Mr. Clean Magic Eraser removes crayon and scuff marks from walls, but did you know it even cleans tough kitchen and bathroom messes that are sometimes tough to tackle? Just wet, squeeze, and erase gray soap scum on your bathtub. Erase cloudy hard water spots in your shower. Erase burnt-on stovetop messes. So for all your tough kitchen and bathroom messes, try Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
School goes on. And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to masks.
And all at amazing prices. This week, select one subject notebooks and Staples 2-pocket paper folders are just 10 cents each.
Select notebooks and folders for a dime. That really is amazing.
Plus, you can shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 8/22. In-store only. Limit 6. While supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Another critical day for California firefighters with more triple-digit temperatures and lightning in the forecast. Napa County's Hennessy Fire causing widespread evacuations. ABC's Will Carr has more.
Jeff Nicolini defying those mandatory evacuations, hoping to preserve his family's 130-year-old winery as the fire begins to hit his property.
If the fire gets a little bit closer, we have the hoses out and ready to make a stand.
Nearby resident Philip Sinceri taking matters into his own hands, putting sprinklers on his roof as he sits on his porch watching the smoke billowing over the trees.
Due to the pandemic, more parents are working from home and fewer children are in daycare. The change reflected in the nation's number of hot car deaths.
The latest tragedy came on Saturday when a 4-year-old boy died in a sweltering car in southeast Texas. His death brought to 18 the number of children who have died this way in 2020, compared with 33 at this time last year. Amber Rollins of KidsInCars.org says it makes sense.
The most common circumstance when it comes to hot car death is children who are unknowingly left that were supposed to be dropped off at daycare.
More parents are working from home and fewer kids are in daycare, heading off that potential tragedy. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Another sign of this struggling economy. UK retailer Marks & Spencer says it will cut 7,000 jobs as people change the way they work and shop in this pandemic. The cuts taking place over the next 3 months. This is ABC News.
Sometimes our food is more than just food. It's an integral part of our community. So this year, Discover is giving $5 million to support Black-owned restaurants. To places like Post Office Pies in Birmingham, Alabama, Back in the Day Bakery in Savannah, Georgia, and hundreds more Black-owned restaurants in your local community, all across the country. Learn how you can show your support at discover.com.
I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mom!
taste as cold as the Rockies? Only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time. Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Storm Tracker Darnell Foster. Weather look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. Partly sunny skies, a daytime high near 81. Partly cloudy overnight, temperatures near 56 for the low. A mix of sun and clouds for your Wednesday, with highs in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. From the Watchdog, this is the Afternoon Drive with live and local issues, guests, and conversations.
With a little love and some tenderness, we'll walk upon the water, we'll rise above the mist. With a little peace and some harmony, we'll take the world together, we'll take them by the hand. 'Cause I got a hand for you. Standing there, your hair was down, your eyes were red. No comb, I touched your hair. I said, get up and let me see you smile. We'll take a walk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Hootie and the Blowfish right there. Hold my hand. I got to see those guys in concert last year. It was one of the best concerts I saw last year. It was amazing. Worth noting as we get ready to talk about school, that is not really actually, I guess, a great song to lead into because we really can't hold hands right now. But, you know, you got the meaning of it, basically. So I am now joined with Dr. Shelby Haynes, the superintendent down at Marshall County. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know this was last minute. You know, we got the green light to go this on Sunday night. I called you guys yesterday. I was like, hey, can we make this work? And I think I've met Tony before, too. He's your PR guy, your marketing guy?
Our communications director. He does an excellent job.
Yeah, didn't he used to work for WTR7? Does he?
Yep.
He still does, I think, on the side.
I think he does. He still does the Summers in the Backyard.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We've crossed paths, but we actually never get to have a conversation. He's very professional. He's very good at his job. And he does the journalism department, too? at school, or does he?
No. He helps the teacher who's up there because the media department up there is really, really big, and they do a great job. They do Dancing with the Stars, they do the football games, they do the Christmas parade in Moundsville. They do some pretty big events, and so it's kind of all hands on deck. There's, as you know,
absolutely,
there's multi-facets to what you're doing. It's hard for Carly to do by herself, so he comes in and helps with those big things like that.
Yeah, he's good. He's got a great radio voice, TV, face and stuff like that. He's, when I was talking to him, I was like, this is the same guy.
It is.
But yeah. So first off, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Let's talk your background. How many years have you been in the education field?
You're dating me,
Well, I'm already getting into trouble. Lola's looking at me already like, did you really go there right now?
She knows. You don't ask a woman these questions. No, I'm just picking. So I came back when I graduated from college, I taught in Virginia for a little while, and I moved back to Marshall County in 97.
Oh, okay.
And so, from there, I taught in Marshall County and taught at Bethany and West Liberty, and came back to Marshall County because home's always home.
That's absolutely. That was my freshman year of high school, actually. So you don't even. You don't. But she looks so young. I'm being honest. She looks so young. When she said that, I was like, "There's no way."
Don't you just love it? The rationalization that they come out.
We knew he'd have something to back up on that.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So so you went to? Did you go to John Marshall?
I didn't. I'm Cameron girl.
Oh, okay. Awesome. You know what? We love the Dragons. Every time we're down there for football season, it's one of our biggest viewed games. The whole community down in Cameron. I got yelled at last year because they weren't on my schedule.
Have you seen the new field?
I have not, and I was talking about that earlier. It looks beautiful.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is amazing. I didn't know they were getting it done.
Absolutely. It looks great. The turf is down. The locker rooms and the concession stand are being redone, and then we build onto the top and cantilevered back into the hill, and it's going to be a great facility. But when we moved 6th grade up there, we also needed a little room, if you have an assembly or something, gym classes canceled. And then also you have to have room for all middle school and high school sports, varsity sports, reserve sports.
Absolutely.
So even though it's a smaller school than John Marshall, you still have to have a lot of room. You still have a JV and a middle school, and wrestling mats out, and archery and tumbling. And so it gives us a little bit more room for that, but then also it can be used as classrooms.
Yeah.
If we need it. So it looks gorgeous.
We did that playoff game where they brought the football in through the helicopter.
Yeah.
I mean, just the atmosphere. Lola, it's one of the best atmospheres in high school football is Cameron High School on a Friday night.
The stands are always packed.
It's just such a great community down there. We always have a great time. Their whole crew down there is amazing. Okay, so you went to Cameron. Where'd you go to college at?
Went to Bethany.
Oh, okay. Great.
I went to Bethany, and then after Bethany, I started teaching, and went to WVU and Marshall both, and back to WVU, and I'm a full-time student, I think, a lifetime student.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. All right, so you're a superintendent here now. Is this second, third year?
No, this is just ended my first year.
This is the end of your first year.
It was an eventful year.
Well, I mean, to say the least. Okay, so this first year.
First year.
Having to deal with this.
And a pandemic. I mean, you just can't beat it.
So before we dig into this crazy year of 2020,
sure.
How's the family? Let's talk together. Everybody's good?
Yeah, everybody's good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's go back to, let's start back winter, spring, when all this kind of unfolded. When did it begin to sink into you, not the administration, but when did it begin to sink into you that, okay, we are into a potential problem here with school?
Well, on March 13th, we had a conference call, and, the message was the best place is for kids, and, because we do a nice job of cleaning, we do a nice job of, but at that time, we didn't know all these ins and outs of COVID about social distancing and masks and all these things that appear to be effective. So at that point, we thought we were staying in school. But then later that day, the governor came in and said, as of Monday, we're closed. So everybody was given a week to prep for online learning. And I'll tell you what, my principals, we met on Saturday, we met on Sunday, and they got it together by Monday morning. They said, we don't need a week. So
that's awesome. If they're taking that step to be a leader, and that's what you hire them for.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's why when I came in here, you said, "How's it going?" And I said, "I can't complain." He said, well, I think you have every right to complain.
Yeah, you do.
I can't. I'm surrounded by great people, and I mean it. I mean, for them to pull that off over the weekend was amazing. And, it was a huge learning curve for everybody, teachers. And then when they said you have to feed students, and so we fed about 1,500 families every week.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. I did not know that at all. I'm on the Ohio side, so I don't know much about the West Virginia side, but I'm starting to kind of dabble into that now as we get into kind of this stuff. But yeah, that's awesome that you guys were able to provide food for the children too.
We had bus drivers who came out and cooks who came out, and those of us at the county office went out and we masked and gloved up and handed out 1,500 meals every week, breakfast and lunch, 1,500 families, and just did it. And that's kind of the philosophy of everybody that I work with. They're amazing. And we just listen, what's the guideline, what's the rule, let's get together, figure it out, let's do it.
And it's changing every week most of the time, it seems like. I mean, now we got a little bit more of a structure, but I mean, there for a while, I mean, it was just, it's a waiting game. And, I felt bad for, the superintendents, the principals, and from a sports standpoint, from the athletic directors, because I'm like, nobody signed up for this when you took the job, obviously, and you're going to stick it through and do the best you can. But people have to understand that, we're in this together. It's not this, we can just point fingers and blame and things like that. So let's talk prom real quick. Prom, of course, was not going to happen. We knew that wasn't going to happen. Graduation, on the other hand, that was a much bigger issue. Let's talk about the decision, how you guys did your graduation, how that all kind of came about.
So we did a virtual graduation, and we said that if West Banco opens back up, we'll be happy to do it there. But, as far as outdoor areas, we still have construction. When you look at the turf on a turf field, it's hot, it's, and we have construction going on at both places.
Yeah, because you guys are doing all the remodels, yeah.
And so if people watched the video, and it aired twice, it aired on both of our local stations, and it was done very well. Our media people did it. You're talking about Tony and Carly earlier. And they did all this, they recorded it. We had a lot of compliments about it, that they wanted to see their kids graduate, that it was all set up so nice, and it was a positive event.
Awesome. Now, when it comes to the governor's office and stuff like that, now, I don't know if you can tell me yes or no to this, that's fine, but do you guys get, the heads up a little bit more faster than the general public, or are you guys kind of blindsided like we are? Like, so whatever Justice says, obviously nobody expected him to say, just follow the bleeping guidelines. Nobody expected that to happen. But are you guys given any information, before he takes, that seat and starts talking to the general public about what's going on? Or is this all just kind of find out as we go?
I watch the same.
Watch the same thing?
I watch the same thing you watch. Now, I will say this, our State Department and our state superintendent is new as well. So, bless his heart.
Yeah.
I think he was hired, I don't know, maybe January or something, like right in the middle of all this. So he is in his first year, and he has done a great job of keeping us informed. And we have weekly superintendent meetings. I have, try to keep my principals informed, but sometimes everybody's taken by surprise sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go to the seniors real quick. I had a senior on my staff that went through this. They graduated. He's in college now. He's going to call later on to talk about what that experience is for college kids right now. What was the message to the seniors from you? Like, what was that message?
I have two nieces who are seniors this year. And, I watched them with their prom and their prom dresses and their graduation ceremonies.
So you experience exactly what a parent has gone through.
They're my nieces.
Yeah, they're nieces, yeah, but you've had to experience
to me, I'm more
from a
important
family.
than their parents anyway.
Yeah.
Come on. But,
cool hand, absolutely.
So, I have two nieces who are going through this. They're seniors this year. And, you just have to remind them that we have to keep you safe. There's just so many unknowns. There's so many variables. I get it that some people have very extreme beliefs each direction. Yeah. And, we have to just make sure that kids are safe. Very first thing. That's our job. And so if they canceled your prom, or if they did a virtual graduation, or, your mom isn't letting you have a graduation party, it's okay. And we kind of, one of my nieces moved into college last week, and we said, she has a ton of restrictions. Even in college. And so I think it kind of sat into her a little bit like, oh, this wasn't you guys just being over the top.
Yeah.
I'm now in Cincinnati, and it's still it's
And the
still-
bigger cities is even worse.
Right.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that off camera already. Okay, so let's go to the summer so far, waiting out this crazy storm, not knowing really how this is going to work. How stressful has it been for you and the administration, kind of getting all the color-coded things? And we're going to talk about that later on in the show, but how just stressful was it this June, July, trying now, now you've got through graduation, you got these kids off the best that we could. Now we're trying to get through a whole potential year of dealing with COVID. So, talk to me about what that was like at the beginning of the summer.
I've told people to breathe more than I've ever said, ever. Breathe.
That's it.
Let's just breathe. Okay, now, let's read, let's ask questions, and let's make a plan and do it.
I love it.
That it is what it is. And
Yeah.
so, I understand the guidelines change. You can have opinions about that however you want to or whatever your view is. But this is the rule. So let's take a breath. Let's read. Let's debate about it. I'm huge about banter with me.
Yeah,
Like,
no, and
banter
you
with
have
me,
to
like-
have that communication as long as you
Yeah.
respect one another.
Right.
We don't have to see eye to eye.
Yeah.
I said that with DeWine, with Ohio. I'm like, just make a decision. Just give me some direction on football. I don't care if I don't like it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to sit and cry about it and post on social media and complain about it. It's like, just make a decision, be a leader, pretty much on that part. So, okay, so let's talk to your teachers real quick. Do you know exactly how many teachers are there at Marshall?
We have about
Like a ballpark.
750 employees. So, we've got 78 bus drivers, you have cooks, custodians, there's occupational therapists, physical therapists. I mean, there's just tons of people that make a school system run.
Yeah, awesome. Now, are you guys still taking applications? Are you guys doing any interviews right now for any positions?
Well, what we've done is that we usually post for substitutes most of the summer, and then for substitute aide, cook, custodian, everybody, through the summer, and then we do the word just left me, an orientation.
Okay,
Sheesh.
yeah, no, you're good.
An orientation and get them started. If you want people to act professionally, you got to treat them professionally. So we go through, here's the expectations, here's how this, and then we will post again at the change of the semester. So if you missed the first one, we'll do it. Now, there's always teachers and people who bump around in jobs that open. But as far as masses of people for new substitute positions, things like that, we do it twice a year. But there's always people moving, posting, resigning, bumping. That's just a nature of the beast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk positive here for a second. What is something that has been positive for you coming out of COVID? We've all had times. Lola's had times. Me, I've had times. We've all had time to reflect on life. For you individually, just take the superintendent part out. What was a positive that you came out of this?
Well, I think you need to realize what's important. When you, take food to your parents and leave it on their front their front doorstep, and you can't see your
Can't see 'em.
parents.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we have FaceTime and that kind of stuff. But, when you have to leave food at your parents' door and wave to them through a glass, or you can't celebrate your grandma's birthday at the nursing home because you're not allowed in, you're outside waving, it makes you realize some of the things that are important. Then we need to get our priorities a little straight as far as, enjoy our family, be thankful, be grateful.
Awesome. I couldn't agree more with you on that. Okay, so now go back into the superintendent mode here. You're entitled to a life as much as the rest of us. So did you get to go do anything? Did you get to go on vacation anywhere? Did you get to go just kind of just decompress for a little bit and just, clear the head?
I go into the world of no cell phone service and internet on the weekends.
I'm so jealous.
I take that back. I have internet, but it's really slow. And the phone rings enough just in case there's an emergency that I can drive to where there's cell phone service to answer it. It'll ring enough for me to say, hold on, I'll call you back. And so a couple weekends a month, I go into the world of no cell phone service. So that's good enough for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Are we going to be going to break here soon? Because
We
I don't
gotta-
want to dabble into the back to school plan until we come back from break.
Okay,
But,
well, then we can take a break right now.
Well, I'll tell you what. Before we take the break, I'll tell her what the surprise that I was going to bring up to you. So,
Oh, boy.
It's
A
okay.
surprise.
Well, because
I know.
you know a little bit of what I do with high school football. So we come in, we DJ while the teams warm up, get them pumped up, get the energy level kind of going. We give away a school spirit award at the end of the year to the best school spirit. We've had John Marshall a couple times. So I do a schedule release show every year. And we hosted it at Union Local last year. you don't know this, but you and me were supposed to talk in April before COVID happened because we wanted to use John Marshall, and I've never shared the information on my DJ page or anything. This is the first time, but I had picked John Marshall. I wanted to work with you guys, and now obviously that's out the window because you can't have crowds. But we wanted to do your Meet the Team night that night.
That'd be awesome.
And we wanted to do that, and you have a beautiful stadium, and I wanted to get that discussion of, man, how awesome would it be? Remember the OVAC All-Star Game was held in Martins Ferry at one point, because the construction was going on at Wheeling Island. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm like, if we could find a way to do it, to have the OVAC All-Star Game, to bounce, town to town, not all across the Ohio Valley, but you look at Wheeling Island, then you look at St. Clairsville, you look at John Marshall, you look at Martins Ferry. I think those are like the 4 best locations you could possibly do it at. But yeah, no, we wanted to do our show down there. We got done with our show last year. We went out, celebrated. And I was already thinking about, okay, what are we going to do next year? What songs we were going to do? We were going to open up with Hicktown with Jason Aldean. I was wanting to bring back the 1996 team, have them walking across the field to Boys Are Back in Town while we were playing it. And we were wanting to have just this huge party. So, I know it's not going to happen this year, but hopefully, in a couple of years. It looks like Indian Creek's got a solid bid on it for next year. But the year after, we would love to sit and talk with you.
We have a beautiful facility.
You have an amazing facility, and it's only going to get just bigger and better and stuff. And things are looking up. And Cameron too, with that new field down there.
Yeah, it's
that
gorgeous.
just looks absolutely amazing. So, are we allowed to take our break? All right, we are powered by Voss Water. Of course, Voss Water does not know I'm drinking their water, but I got to start somewhere with sponsorships. Why not do it with Voss Water?
Just like they always do, Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands continues to serve the Ohio Valley. The Lube is still open for carryout and now offering their $10 meal deal every day of the week. Get 1 entree and 1 sidecar for just $10. Pick from steak, wings, ribs, and more. Call in or order online at thelube.com and follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on their latest specials and promotions.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all?
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Managing your business can be a minefield. One step in the wrong direction, and it can feel like everything you've worked for is at risk. I always had a vision of building a team, a crew of true professionals that could handle it all, tax, insurance, and investments. Big enough to partner with Encova, but personal enough to protect your interests on the home front. I'm Gary, and this is the Glessner Group.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. Investigators say a young Charleston firefighter paramedic died on duty last month of an accidental drug overdose. A medical report was returned this week in connection with the death of Jason Cuffey, a somber Charleston Fire Chief Jeff Jackson at a news conference earlier this afternoon.
To say we are heartbroken is an understatement. As first responders, we deal with death, unfortunately, almost daily. But when it's one of your brothers, it's an entirely different experience.
Police are now trying to find out who supplied the drugs to Cuffey. Investigators say they have found no compromising of the drug supplies that paramedics handle. WVU Dino students Corey Ferris says a list is being compiled of those students involved in parties last weekend that appear to be violating COVID-19 guidelines.
Work with landlords to identify who the tenants are, or the police are identifying the tenants of the apartment. Or house, or wherever that may be, and so we'll address them, and we're taking them head on.
Ferris saying earlier today on Metro News Talk Line that meetings begin tomorrow with some of those students. Taylor Grafton Health Department spokesperson Sean Thorne says a recent COVID-19 outbreak at the Rosewood Center nursing home is being addressed.
They have moved all of the residents. They've created an actual wing to put all of the COVID positive residents in.
Taylor County's numbers are a little better today. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Officials with a popular healthcare clinic in Charleston hope to reopen tomorrow morning. The West Virginia Health Right Clinic in the capital city closed earlier today for deep cleaning after an employee tested positive for COVID-19. Marshall University's football schedule now has Eastern Kentucky on it. AD Mike Hamrick announcing this afternoon the Herd will play EKU on September 5th. Eastern Kentucky will play West Virginia the following week. Weather forecasters say there's a chance for a passing thunderstorm this evening in parts of the Mountain State. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Hi, this is Shauna Johnson from Metro News. Join us weekdays on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for the latest regional news from West Virginia and beyond, along with news and weather from WTRF-TV and Bill DeFabio Sports. We give you the Ohio Valley's most comprehensive morning news right here on the Watchdog.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Watchdog. My name is DJ Danner, taking you through the afternoon drive right here on FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX, FM WVLY 97.7, and AM 1370. I am still here with the superintendent here of Marshall County Schools, Dr. Shelby Haynes. We are now going to, we're going to get right into this. Let's talk about back to school. You guys are in your colored states. Let's walk me through this as a parent. My son will not be going to there because we live in Ohio, but every other school district will be kind of doing something similar. So let's talk Marshall County. How's it looking for school?
And it's easy to understand why people get confused.
Absolutely. That's why I wanted to bring you on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So the governor announced a color-coded system that kind of is overarching of everything else. So we'll start there.
Okay.
And so he has green, yellow, orange, red. And he has a number per every 100,000 people. So 3 for every 100,000, 3 new cases, 7-day rolling average.
Okay.
3 new cases per 100,000 people keeps you in the green.
Okay.
And then it goes up to red. I think red is like 25 plus per 100,000, 7-day rolling average. And so on the governor's website, in conjunction with DHHR, they update that every day at 10 a.m. There's actually a day lag, of course, because you have to get everybody's positive
results in. So yeah, absolutely.
And so, when we get up to red, that's when sports would stop and things, because you're having too many cases transmitted. So that's our overarching blanket that the governor has set for us. So as long as you're in the yellow or the green, as a county, you can make up your own level system, which just about every county in the state just about did, some type of a level system. So for us, level 4 is when we go full remote. You're in red, you're shut down.
Okay.
Level 3 is where we're starting, and I know it's very hard on everyone, but it's the easiest way to keep kids safe, to keep kids socially distanced, to teach them all the rules and regulations of a mask, and to slowly start to bring people back together. Just like anything else, you start from the most restrictive to the least restrictive environment. You just don't jump in both feet.
No, absolutely, because then you can see an outbreak obviously coming up. And we've seen that in other states. North Carolina's just had problems. Georgia's had problems. So, whether you believe it's a real virus or not, it doesn't matter. The fact is the results come in. The results are the results. Can't do anything about it, really.
John Marshall has 1,200 kids, and if you bring them all back at one time, and what are your hallways going to look like? What are your, and so we've done a lot of things, one-way traffic and different things like that.
And you're asking a teenager, too, to do this. It's like,
and to wear a mask, and
good luck.
Right. And on top of it, we have one-on-one iPads for everybody. And so the older kids, sure, you can say, here's your iPad, go. But then if you want people to use it appropriately, the little kids, you've got to teach them. So only, having part of them. So there's a lot of reasons that we started. Our health department has talked to us extensively about, we had our numbers increased after Memorial Day. Our numbers increased after the 4th of July. And they hope that they don't increase after Labor Day. But you don't know. People have Labor Day parties. And then you're going to bring them to 100% capacity. That's a little scary.
And you're getting into fall and eventually winter. And I'm always thinking 3-4 months ahead already. Our crew's already getting ready for winter, and I'm like, that's going to be ridiculous. I feel like, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I think it's parents need to be preparing for this now, because you got to see what this was like in March. And I know everybody goes right to social media. I just want to complain. I don't like what they're doing. It comes down to it. It's not your call. I mean, you either send your kid or you don't send your kid. And it's like you have to understand that you folks are people too, just like us. And even though we disagree on some things, we might. At the end of the day, you have to have respect for one another. And I think what you guys are doing down there, it makes sense. It's not what you would want to hear mostly from parents that work the 9 to 5. I get it. I'm very fortunate enough. I run my own business, so I don't have to deal with, having to worry about where my son's going to be at. I can take him 5 days a week if we need to. Other parents are not. They don't have that luxury, and I understand that it's hard. I expect to see more plans of actions outside of the school communities to help these parents. I expect to see more companies stepping up, finding a way, and it's all about how you can just sit and kind of figure out, let's get a game plan. Let's get a game plan, let's talk it, because the schools are strapped. And I use the word strapped a lot because I feel like you guys are. You're in a no-win situation in some aspects of it, and some people don't kind of see that. All right, so let's talk to the teachers because a lot of them have been drinking a lot of wine lately, it seems like, which, if I get invited back, I think we should just give away a wine package to a teacher. They're stressed, they're freaking out about what's going on. They're hearing it too from the parents. What's the message to the teachers?
Well, let's take it back up for a minute. Let's think about in March, when the school shut down. They were teaching from home. They have their own children that they're supposed to be teaching. Like, it just, it's stressful.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're supposed to be ready to teach our kids who are in front of us. We have to plan for kids who aren't in front of us for remote learning. But then remember, parents also have the option for 100% virtual. So there's a third group of kids. And so these teachers are stressed. I mean, they absolutely are. And it's a whole new way of teaching that I haven't done before.
Yeah.
Because now I have all these kids who, they're not taking books home, they're taking iPads home. And it isn't a smooth transition, a slow transition, where we say, okay, we're going to start with the middle school, or we're going to start with the high school, and we're going to work our way back to kindergarten. No, it is, boom, everybody's got an iPad. And we have to figure out how to get your lessons on it, and it's a steep learning curve. But, our people will do it. They've been working all summer.
Awesome. We want to thank all the teachers too around, not just in Marshall County, but just around the whole Ohio Valley. You're like I said earlier, you're in a tough situation, almost a no-win situation. So hang in there. And if I do get to come back, not sure how this plans out, but maybe we do a teacher giveaway or something like that. We'll find a sponsor or something. Okay, so message to the parents, and I used the word breathe earlier on another topic. I would assume it would start with that. Like, listen, you need to breathe. And because everything they do, their kids see. I see, my son watches me. If I'm stressed and I'm freaking out, he might not understand I'm on social media complaining, which I'm not on social media complaining, but, he might not understand what I'm typing, but he sees the facial expression. And even at 5 years old, he understands what when I'm stressed. So what's the message to the parents with these kids as we get ready to get back into this?
Well, and the hope is that if we do this right and we transition slowly and we teach people the guidelines and the kids learn to social distance and how to use the mask and how to use the iPad, that then hopefully shortly thereafter we can move to a least restrictive level where everybody does come to school with just Wednesdays off for deep cleaning. And then we can hopefully, after however long, can we just be back to 5 days a week?
Yeah. I love the Wednesday deep clean, by the way. That was one of the ideas that I was playing around with my head in April. I was like, hey, you do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, deep clean Wednesday, and then if you do another deep clean, maybe Sunday, if
you're mentioned in the footnote of our chart in Marshall County. It says, thanks for the idea, DJ Danner.
No, it doesn't. All right,
Nice try.
So, all right, we've talked about the teachers, we talked about the parents. Most importantly, the message to the kids right now. What is that?
That we're trying to do what's in the best interest of you. We have a lot of kids. We've had, you were talking about people getting on social media and things. What we need to also remember is for every negative social media post that somebody posts, there's somebody else sending a text message or an email that says, thank you. My child has such anxiety over coming back to school, and I don't want them to do virtual school, but we were going to do virtual school because he or she is so scared to come back to school. Now that I know for the next few weeks it's only going to be half the kids, we can do this. And so there's a lot of those kids out there too. So, be patient, learn, listen, and we need to get you back with your friends. I mean, that's important. Socialization is huge.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep you here too for the rest of the show, and we have a call in. CJ, I think I'm going to put this headphone on. Is the headphones on?
Yes.
Oh, I can hear you. Okay. Is CJ with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. How you
I'm
doing?
here. What's up? How are you guys?
Good, man. Good. When we got the clearance to do this show, CJ's a college student right now. He's a freshman. So he's watched this kind of all unfold. What's the atmosphere like down there at your college right now?
Well, there's a lot of different things that are going on down here. We have to wear masks everywhere on campus except for when we're eating and when we are in our residence hall or in our dorm room, we're allowed to take the masks off. But we have to keep them on throughout all classes. We have to maintain a 6 feet distance between us, our professors, our teachers. They have the chairs all spread out in different classrooms. And through some courses, they're breaking the classes up into like teams and groups so we can keep maintaining that social distancing. But I know that some classes are virtual, like half virtual, half in person, like in 1 week. So like I have two of the same in-person classes in 1 week, but the virtual class on like Friday. So there's a lot unfolding right now. I mean, we're doing the best we can down here to try and limit COVID exposure, and we're staying in a COVID bubble right now.
What's the atmosphere amongst the kids? Like, I mean, I know you've probably met a lot of people already so far down there. So you've been down there for a couple weeks now. Just the energy level, obviously you can't go out to a bar right now. You can't go out to a party. You can't, do this and that. So what's just the energy like down there?
I mean, it's still very energized down here, even though we have to stay 6 feet apart. We're all just excited to be back in classes and back in school. Like we can do fun things, but we still have to socially distance. Like they have different activities down here, but it's just a little different than what it would have been without COVID. And all the students are really excited about being able to be on campus. And we're also a little bit nervous about leaving campus in case, like, we get a certain amount of COVID cases in Washington County down here in Ohio. And if we get so many cases on campus, we'll have to be sent home and go virtual. So I'm hoping that we don't have to go virtual the rest of the school year. I'm hoping we can stay down here on campus.
All right, awesome. Talk to me real quick, the message to a senior that is frustrated right now with what's going on back here. Message to him or her, what would that be from you? Knowing that what you're experiencing down in college.
Keep your head up. I mean, that's all you really can do. During this pandemic, you just have to keep working as hard as you can. I mean, I know it's hard. It's very frustrating. Well, like during the spring semester of my senior year in high school, we had to go all virtual, and it was terrible. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The teachers did a great job of delivering the classwork online, but like it wasn't the same. We had to miss our prom, we had to miss baseball, we had to miss everything really. So it's not the same. Just keep your head up and try and do the best you can to limit exposures to COVID-19.
Awesome, man. Hey, I know your football schedule came out. Talk about that quickly. Marietta is now moved to spring. How many games you guys got?
Yes, we have 4 regular season games and then the OAC championship. So the schedule looks like this. It's a little bit different. It's on Friday nights is when we play our football games. Our first game will be on Friday, March 19th. We'll be playing Baldwin Wallace down here in Marietta. It's on Friday night. They haven't released the exact time for it yet. Week 2, it's going to be Friday, March 26th. We'll be playing John Carroll University. And then week 3, we'll be playing Mount Union, which is one of the top teams in Division III football in the country. So we're very ecstatic to be able to see them week 3. And week 4, we'll be facing one of our rivals, Muskingum, and that'll be down here in Marietta on Friday, April 9th. And then if we have a good 4 games, then we'll end up in the OAC championship on Friday, April 16th.
All right, CJ, are you coming up here? Is the team coming up here to Mount Union?
Yes, we will be playing at Mount Union on Friday, April 2nd.
We'll see you on April 2nd.
So you're going to be at the game.
Yep.
Well, listen, man.
Yeah,
CJ, I want to tell you, man, thanks for calling in, brother. We miss you up here. For those of you guys that don't know, CJ works for me, and he also works for this radio station, too. You want to talk about a kid that's got his head on straight and it's going in a positive direction. We miss you up here, brother. We love you. And, looking forward to bigger things coming from you, man. Just hang in there, and we'll talk soon.
I miss you guys, too. And just a quick word to everyone, keep your heads up. We'll get through this together.
I love it, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Later. All right, once again, that was CJ Rose. He is a freshman down at Marietta. And so now we got to hear from from a college kid right now, and talking to a superintendent right now. I'm interested. I don't know what happens again with this show. I don't know if I get to come back or not, but I would love to interview the high school kids and kind of get their vibe on it. So let's talk about the high school kids a little bit more here. We all need sports. You know, we know what Ohio is doing now. That got broke earlier today. They are going to go forward. Do you think West Virginia is going to go? I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit.
That's all right.
But do you think West Virginia is going to follow suit? Do you think that they're going to go ahead and approve it, and we're going to have football in West Virginia?
As of right now, I mean, they have a schedule, but back to the color code of the governor, if we get to red, the sports are not.
And that's where I have a problem with it, because I'm like, I don't want to get into the season halfway, and then we end up getting canceled once we get it. I don't know how you do the Super Six. We have no stadium here in West Virginia, and you're talking flu season. And I'm a big person that I believe that if your immune system, you build it up, and you're having these kids not around each other a lot, and I feel like the cases are going to end up getting, higher and higher. And I'm just like, you can't put these guys in a bubble. You can't do what the NBA is doing, which Lola, we talked about earlier. You can't do what the NBA and the NHL is doing. You can't put these kids in a bubble for a title game.
I think the SSAC did a nice job of saying, how they have the 3-week window and all those things. So they open it up for conditioning. And so now you have practices happening, and there's mask guidelines for different things depending on what you're doing and where you are, and if you're in play or inside or outdoors, there's different mask guidelines. So I think they are kind of bringing them together slowly, which is a good idea. But again, it's, how I said about our back to school, that the overarching color scheme could shut it down. It's the same way it could shut down my school.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so let's talk, besides sports, the other extracurricular activities. Can't say that word right now. It's fumbling. Besides we have sports, there's other activities. What are you guys doing virtually, maybe, to kind of help, get these activities in, even though you can't be in person?
Well, your electives and things like that happened second semester, those still happened when school was closed. So you still had different things. We had a big meeting today about how do you do remote auto repair? How do you do remote? And so we, Mr. Varner and Mr. Wilson were working with the high school principals on some of that, because we still have to keep these kids engaged. Like CTE is a huge thing that keeps kids in school. A lot of those kids come out of there with a welding certificate and make more money than both of us.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, it's important to do that. When we had the food distributions over second semester, there were many times that we gave out mental health type of things, activities of about COVID and talking to your children about them, things like that. So we try to keep people engaged as much as possible.
Awesome. So this is the other thing too. I want to get back to the sports real quick. Is if you're gonna go with it, do you like the idea of West Virginia plays West Virginia teams only, or do you care that it gets crossed over and you can play the Ohio teams? Like to me, I feel like, man, it's like, for Ohio, I feel like they're almost at that point. I know some of them still have West Virginia teams on their schedule, but I feel like, okay, if we're going to try to make this work and try to get through this whole season, which you're looking now November for title games, you almost have to, like, to me, I'm like, if you're going to try it, just do it in state, which takes away our trophy game, by the way, because we wouldn't be having it if they do it.
Well, I'm not going to pretend like I know the ramifications of all these sports things because I don't. However, part of me just says, if you stay locally, it's still a different pod. Like when SSAC started, we had to stay in pods of 10, and you stayed in that pod of 10 the whole time, because then a pod could get shut down. So if you cross pods, I don't know, does it matter if you cross state to Ohio or another county? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just gonna be, it's one of those questions that you don't know the answer to. You're trying to kind of make sense of everything and things like that. Let's wrap up here with the masks real quick. So I brought all these masks in, Lola. So this is my favorite one, which I know a lot of people, unless you're watching it live. Now my question is can you still hear me, even though it's over my face? You can hear me okay?
I can hear you pretty well.
Oh, okay. So I've not talked on a microphone when I've done gigs with this thing on, but these things are amazing. Is this approved?
At this point, on the re-entry guidelines, the last one we got was July 28th, and it says face coverings, which includes gaiters.
So this is good. All right, that's my favorite one, okay? My second favorite, because Lola knows you don't. So I like to wear bandanas a lot. If I don't have a ball cap on, I have a bandana. So is this approved?
It says face covering. So
it's kind of questionable a little bit, but
it's a little questionable, but it does say face coverings.
It's fashionable though.
You would
But
be
you
okay
don't
walking into
sound-
Walmart.
you
Can you still, well, I'm not sure if I'm there to pick up something or rob the place, but
You don't
can you
sound
still,
as good.
Can you still hear me?
You're not
Yeah,
as clear.
but you're not
I'm not
as
as clear. So the bandana does not work as well.
Right.
Okay. So the other one, we have, of course, the sports ones, which these are just basic. But I'm not a big fan of
Now,
wearing the
see,
sports
you
ones.
don't
You're muffled.
sound.
I'm muffled on this
Yeah,
one. All right.
yeah.
I had to interview the Friday Night Lights scholarship winner, who was from another school, and their AD actually gave me their mask. So I know she's not happy right now because
I told him it was not appropriate. It's not acceptable.
I got a weird one. The athletic director, she gave me the weird one. So this is my first school one. So we got to get a John Marshall one.
That's
I
right.
think you guys are playing each other at some point during the season, as of right now. So see, and it makes these ones, the little tiny regular. These things are so like they're not fun to wear. Now the other one that I brought packets in. Now these ones have those holes in them that you can actually.
air.
Yeah. So is that approved? That's the big one
Yeah.
that I wanted to ask you. That is approved.
Yeah, right now it says face coverings. And you know what the good thing about these and the Gator is that they just go around your neck.
Yeah.
So you always have them. I don't know how many times I've walked back to my car, I forgot my
Yep.
mask.
Yeah.
Where I think that when we had those out before, they go, yes, so
Yeah,
those
these
could
ones-
hang around your neck. We see a lot of schools are getting lanyards or glass case clippies or
Yeah.
glass clippies so that they still stay around the kid's neck.
Now this has got the vent. So do you hear me pretty well?
You're very muffled.
Very muffled still. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see,
I
now-
think that one has the most.
I put my mindset back to when I was in high school, so these things actually pop off too. So knowing me, I would just have it open and not actually, I'd probably be I'd be in the office. I'd be getting yelled at probably for sure.
For our pre-K students, we bought little bucket hats with a shield built in.
Okay.
And because as you can imagine with pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, that's going to be difficult. So we
what
have
is-
those little.
What is going to be the easiest age group? If you had to guess, like to me, I feel like the age group would be probably middle school kids would probably much understand how this all works. I feel like high school kids are going to give you problems with masks. Little kids are going to give you problems with masks. Middle school crowd, I feel like
third, fourth grade.
third, fourth grade.
Third, fourth grade.
Middle school, high school, they're going to use it as a fashion accessory.
Well, I mean that's what I'm using it for.
And little kids, you tell them to do it, they're going to do it. Now, it might just be a snot collector, but that's what
Yeah.
it's going to be. Yeah, it's those tweeners that are just fighting against everything. Yeah.
There'll be lots of teaching going on.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
But once again, Dr. Shelby Haynes, thank you so much for coming in. You were my third guest. I want to also thank Ashley Dunlap from Ogilvy. I want to thank Justin West for talking about music. He's a sound engineer guy here in the Ohio Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this afternoon. This is the first time that I've ever got to host anything on radio. I don't know what happens after today. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I always say when I play, I hope you guys are living in the moment with me. So look forward to, hopefully seeing you guys down the road. Lola, I hope I didn't drive you nuts too much. Once again, we are powered by Voss Water. Of course, Voss Water has no idea I'm drinking their water, but we got to start somewhere with the sponsorship. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Last time you waking up next to me, 'cause I know me. I could just change my mind and leave my number in your